Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Morning Meta. I am yours truly, Travis Spencer.
I'm Camilla Crawley.
Camilla, it is Thursday.
Yes,
So we're going to do our community conversations today.
right. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about mental health, being that
Mhm,
this is BB Campbell Moore Month, or some people may know it as Minority Mental Health Month, or BIPOC Mental Health Month.
mhm.
So we'll talk a little bit about
Awesome.
that.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So let's get started. What we have the grounding first, and
Yes.
yeah.
For our grounding today, I was thinking a little bit of movement
Mhm,
along with breath. So let's start with our neck. And if the neck is not a comfortable place for you, I'm going to invite you to focus on your hands or another part of the body.
mhm,
So we're going to gently move the neck to give it a little bit of a stretch and align it with the breath. A couple of options are to roll the neck halfway or all the way around. And if you're going to use this option, then when you're at the center, you inhale in, hold it, and as you rotate over one shoulder, exhale out to bring your chin back to center. Okay. The other option is dropping the ear from one side to the other to stretch the neck. So do whatever feels right for you about 3 times.
mhm.
Inhaling at center, exhaling when you move the neck. Drop the ears and move the neck around. And then come back to center when you're done. All right. So you can pause once you feel like you've stretched the neck enough, around or dropping the ear, and then take some time to notice what your body feels like. From center, from that centered place, maybe you feel like you need to massage your neck a little bit more down to where the shoulders are, or you might feel all right just being in stillness for a few seconds. All right.
Mm,
Yeah.
those felt good.
hmm Yeah, oftentimes we might be holding our neck because we're always looking, right? Looking at the
Mhm.
computer, the phone, or something. So just to give a little bit of movement to it
Mm,
can be helpful.
yeah, that was very nice.
Mhm.
All right, good people. Let's set our intention for today. We're going to use the following sentence stem. My intention for today. And then after that, add whatever your intention is going to be for today. So let's begin. My intention for today. Now, the invitation is to release whatever your intention is for today. Release it and then move throughout the day with purpose in mind, but not holding so tightly to that intention.
Yeah, definitely. Now for our centering thought. Let's see what we have for today. The centering thought is a quote, and this quote says, "The measure of a country's greatness is its ability to retain compassion in time of crisis." Again, that centering thought is, the measure of a country's greatness is its ability to retain compassion in time of crises. And this is from the ancestor Thurgood Marshall.
Mm,
Hmm. As we're going into our main practice, which is our community conversation for today, and I'm thinking about this quote, and Thurgood Marshall is saying, this measuring based on retaining compassion during a time of crises, right? It's almost like he's saying that's what really builds character.
hmm
And if we think about that in regards to our mental health, especially for this month being BIPOC mental health, how can we retain? This is what I'm thinking about, right? How can we also retain compassion when we may be in crises in that time of our life as well, when we're looking at our mental health? Because I know that the theme for this year is more good days together,
hmm
right? That's the theme, and it's really focusing on what a ideal good day could look like, whether it's for you as an individual or or not or, but and also with community. So more good days together. What's
Mm-hmm.
that ideal day look like for yourself and for your community? And I really want to be clear that the ideal day, if you think about that quote, the ideal day might not mean that everything went right. The ideal
Mm-hmm.
day might mean that in your day or the day of the community, maybe crises happen, and what happened during that crisis was everybody retained compassion, and that
Mm-hmm.
became, you see what I mean, like
Oh,
that became the
absolutely.
good day.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about all of that,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts?
I think that it always starts at home. So when you begin thinking about how do we retain this compassion, how do we show up in moments of crisis, is that it starts at home. When you talk about compassion, I always define it as noticing suffering, um, having a desire to relieve that suffering, and then doing something to relieve that suffering. So the idea is that if it starts at home first, noticing what arises in you in the moment of crisis, and then taking care of yourself, and then putting that mask on the other person. If you've heard that saying,
Mm-hmm.
you have to put on your mask first before you put on the child's mask in a plane, right? So it's that idea is that if you're taking care of yourself, if you're showing yourself compassion, if you're showing up for yourself, then you will have the capacity to show up for others. And the point that you made, oftentimes in community, when we're together, there are going to be moments when we're going to be upset with one another, and an argument may arise. All of those things are natural to being in community with one another. But how do we show ourselves compassion first? And then being able to show that compassion to the other person, being able to be open to understanding, right? And that all of those things support us being able to show up for one another and move
Mm-hmm.
forward together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'd like to really get into maybe some basic examples
Hmm.
of this theme, more good days together. So on both levels, the individual and the community level. And I'm thinking about an example of like if I'm going through my day and something happens where maybe I start to feel stressed out, or I feel sadness, or anything that might be a little challenging for
Hmm.
me, that day can still look like a good day for me
Hmm.
if on an individual level I'm able to do some of the things we do here every single day, like some of the
Hmm.
resourcing practices. I'm able to stop myself and just name, like right now I am, pissed off, naming that anger,
Hmm.
or naming that sadness, like right now I just feel really sad.
Hmm.
That to me can be an example of an ideal, a good day, quote unquote good day, for an individual,
Hmm.
because it's being able to step into your own power
Hmm.
of choice in those moments that can make it, to me, a good day. So that's to me like a basic example on an individual level. And then a basic example on the community level is what you shared about. Again, I might be going through those same experiences of sadness, of grief, stress, or anger. And then I'm able to have a conversation with someone else, maybe because I called them up on the phone and they just listened.
Hmm.
Or I'm in a place where I feel safe enough to share with someone else what's going on with me. And then again, they may just listen, just be present, or if I'm open to it, they may offer some type of counsel. So I wanted to put those same
Hmm.
questions to you in terms of, you know, like the theme says, what does this look like? What does this good day look like on an individual and on a collective community level as well?
Hmm. I love what you just shared. So I want to add to that, if you don't mind. One thing that you said, you said, I feel. I may feel anger, I might feel mad, or you use the word feel. And I think that's important because when we speak of what's going on from a place of feeling, then it's not us taking ownership of it. Like if you say I'm mad and
Mm-hmm.
I feel mad, those are,
Yeah.
they come off very differently. In the way that we interpret it internally, I believe is very different. So being able to notice that, yeah, this is how I'm feeling, and then we can resource ourselves to support shifting and transmuting, those feelings that we're having. Um, and the other piece too, I would like to add, is, well, I pointed out what you just shared, but I would like to add this point: is that when we're feeling these energies, being able to resource ourselves sometimes means being able to place appropriate boundaries in place,
Mm-hmm.
you know, being able to speak your truth in a way that supports shifting the way that people are treating you, and not in a way that you're calling them out or ostracizing them, but in a way to let them know that this has happened, this has occurred. I feel this way about it. And what I need in order to move forward is X, Y, and Z. Being able to say it that way, in a way that they can receive it. And then you can even ask them, what do they need? So that that boundary is in place in the appropriate way. Um, and then what you'll find is by dealing with that situation, you'll find that you're able to connect with that person a little deeper because you said your truth, they were able to receive, and now you're moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So when you begin thinking about the theme, you know, this is the way that we move forward together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that what you just shared also connects again to that quote in terms of retaining compassion. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you're able to, um, call someone in
Mm-hmm.
versus casting them out, then to me that's the compassion piece, because you are able to do that when you notice that that other person, even if in your mind you're like, oh god, this person is getting on my nerves,
Mm-hmm.
but you know that behind all of that there's something going on with that person,
Mm-hmm.
that they may be in a place of suffering, and being able to recognize that can allow you to slow down and just be
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, instead of me, completely casting this person off, let me figure out how I'm going to respond to this person,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
then go about my business.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
And that's beautiful.
mm-hmm,
And like I said, that's why self-compassion always has to begin, has to be the start of it.
mm-hmm.
Because noticing that you're feeling pissed off, now you resource yourself first before you call in the individual who pissed you off. Because it's important that you are coming from a place that is grounded, that you're using that prefrontal cortex, you're being reasonable, you're being wise in your actions and in your words,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to be reactive. Reactive is calling out. Responsive is calling in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that what you shared about the boundaries, you know, all of that, everything that you shared, everything connects together. I see
Mm-hmm.
how it connects. So it's resourcing yourself, starting with yourself. It's the compassion piece for yourself, and then being able to also show that compassion outwardly to others.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I think about is that even when we show compassion to others, still keeping in mind that that person may not be in a place to receive
Mm-hmm.
it. So if that is the case, then you bring in those boundaries that you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just like, oh, well, no matter what, if this person disrespect me or do anything to me, I just keep, compassion, and just let it be. The boundaries is also a part of that to me.
Mm-hmm.
So you call the person in, you respond to them, you have what you feel is a nice conversation, and they're still just not at that place where they can receive it, and they're doing those same things that kind of get you riled up, then that's when you could say, well, until, the boundary then becomes like, until you're in a place where you're open to receive
Mm-hmm.
this, let's do it this other way,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's is that what you're talking about is teaching people how to treat people.
Mm.
You know, and that is so much a part of our healing journey because oftentimes we are releasing or giving up our power.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we don't know how to reclaim that power without being reactive.
Mhm.
So I love what we're talking about today because this is if you have to set a boundary that may kind of separate you from another person for a time, then the understanding is that the boundary is in place to support you and to protect you, but the boundary doesn't have to be permanent
Mm-hmm.
because if the person begins to do their work and they meet you at a place where you both can be mutually understanding of each
Mhm.
other and mutually growing, then you can connect again and come back together.
Mhm.
You know, and with the boundaries, new boundaries, or whatever needs to be in place. Once that person is ready to be open.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll end on the community or collective piece. So all of these things are really helpful, and I think what really takes it to that next level is in the process of doing these
Mhm.
different things, resourcing yourself, starting to create boundaries and maintain them and everything like that. It's really helpful to have community
Mm-hmm.
um, that's accessible, that's around you during
Mm-hmm.
all of this, because oftentimes that's how we can learn how to do these things that we're talking about, because we're in community with people and then we're hearing somebody else's experience and then you relate to it like, oh, I know exactly what they're talking
Mm-hmm.
about and they did what, let me try that, like let me try that and see what happens. So I just want to really end and emphasize that part about having community is so important with everything that we're sharing. So that's my
Yes.
final note on that.
Yeah. And my final note is that community is a reflection of you.
Hmm.
You want to look at where you are in life, really take a look at your community. They're reflecting back to you where you are.
Yeah, definitely. So that was a great conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and as always, we're going to continue because there's so many layers to all of this information around healing and well-being and connection.
Mm-hmm.
But for
Absolutely.
now, I think let's think about a call to action. So if you have something that's coming to you, share
Mm-hmm.
it, and then if I can think of anything.
Well, I think in thinking about the conversation we just had, it has to start at home first. So the invitation is to just do some self-reflection.
Mm.
The call to action is to self-reflect, and whatever comes up for you, show that compassion.
Mhm.
If you see some growth edges and areas that you want to grow in and heal in, show that area some compassion, and then begin to spread out. Maybe call someone, a loved one, someone that you're close to, and talk to them.
I like that. And I'm going to add to that call to action by inviting anyone that would like to journal that reflection.
Mm.
Journal in your own
Yes.
notebook, or if you have a journal app on your phone, but journal about what was just shared.
Mhm.
And you can even think about the theme for this BIPOC Mental Health Month, which is what does a good day look like
Mhm.
on an individual level and on a community level. You journal about that too.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this community conversation today. I really enjoyed it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with any and everyone who could benefit from our daily practices. And remembering that all of this is really about mindful living too. So, any
Yes.
final words?
Final words is that, we're beginning each day grounded, intentional, and connected. Ashe.
Ashe.
Mhm.